Hello, this is a note about our something related to our radar course that came up today in class, where we simulate radar, the radar images and interaction with the land at various places. And one of the places that we do have questions and simulated displays is in the Channel Islands here. Guernsey's over here somewhere, and here's a little island. And then we have an exercise where you're supposed to start here at this light and go through this go through this channel, this very narrow channel up here to this light. So the step one that to work the exercise is to lay out the route on this chartlet, and then with that knowledge in your hand, then you turn on the radar simulator, and you have to guided by your chart work, you drive your boat through there just by radar. And this is just a view of our radar simulator, and that'll just show, here's the scan you're seeing, for example, and here's where the vessel's located. Here's that light, which one is that? F, and they're going up to R through this narrow channel here. Then the second part of the exercise is, we notice that this is anyway, so that's our simulator. I'll put a link to that. It's a pretty realistic radar simulator. And then the next exercise is if you want to avoid this close contact with this shoaling here, to take another route that goes around. Well, we were working that exercise today, and somebody got a slightly different answer, and it just occurred to me that even though we work these on the chartlet like this, we've been spending all this last time in another course using the qtVlm, and we could in fact measure this stuff exactly with that chart, with that charting program, qtVlm, using this CM93 charts. Now, that's something we haven't got to in our class yet. We get to it in the last lesson of our electronic charting course. But it's a worldwide global set of free, basically training charts, ENC training charts. And so, but we can use those, and here are those charts here. Let me zoom out. See, here's these islands here, over here. That's a Channel Islands, just to show where we are here. These are the Channel Islands, and here is France and so forth. Okay, and so our exercise is all related to this little island, Herm Island, down here. And the first part of it is you have to go through there. And so the way you could go through there to do your charting work, now again, you ultimately have to lay out your plans, you make a route plan, right? You make a route plan. So we would lay out these waypoints that take us safely through here. You lay out the waypoints like that go all the way safely through here, the very narrow territory. Then you can right-click that, edit that, and look at the information. And here you have, and the exercise uses 5 knots. And then it tells you the course and heading for each one of these. And in fact, you can print this out. You can plot this out and make a nice table of it for it to have on the chart table. But then this route is and it asks how far is the route? It's 2.7 nautical miles, which I did off of here, not off our paper one. And it would take at 5 knots, 32 minutes, 34 seconds. Okay, so that's the answer to the first part of the question. Then the second part of the question says, go through there, but get up there from light F to light R, but don't go within 0.3 miles of any shoaling. Well, now looking at the real world here, I learned that we probably have to reword that question, because first of all, we're starting, the actual question asks us to start, our map, if you look at our chart here that we're working with, this just doesn't show anything here. Right, doesn't really show any serious shoaling. But in reality, if you look at the real chart, there's actually shoaling here. So our chart for a knowledgeable person is going to say, they're going to laugh at that. You're starting right on land, basically. So anyway, we'll fix that and start out here somewhere. But that's not the point now. The point, but that's the example of looking at the real charts when you can. All right, so but then to mark off staying 0.3 nautical miles off of the nearest shoaling, I just sort of mocked that up by going to these shoalings the nearest shoaling we would have to go by, put a mark there, and I put a range ring on it that's 0.3 nautical miles. And then we do the same thing. We come back to the course, and then we get our boats here at the starting point. Here's our first waypoint, and then we just march all the way around there. We also notice this. You barely can get 0.3. We really, in other words, there's no way to get there without being within 0.3 of shoaling, because in this area, you're really, you're right in the middle. But that's a huge, that's like a quarter of a mile. A little over a third of a mile. We don't need that much clearance. So we're going to reword that just because of this area here. But let's go back, and now we can easily, and it's taking me longer to tell you how to do this, to say what we did than to actually do it. Now I just put the mark on here, say edit this pathway. I go back up here to information. Again, we put in 5 knots for each of the legs. And now we see that the long route where you're really avoiding everything and not having to worry about these real narrow channels, that's 6.3 nautical miles, and that's an hour and 15 minutes. And so one of our questions was, how much longer is one versus the other? And in one case, it was 75 minutes, and the other 32 minutes, so the answer would be 43. Well, that's really all I want to say about that is this, but just to point this out, if any of our students in the radar course want to get involved with working with qtVlm, then we have a lot of videos online that discuss the use of this program, and this is just a correlation of this program with our radar course.